Right here, we're going to go ahead and call the meeting to order. The first item of business, of course, is approval of the minutes from the meeting on December 20th. I assume everybody had an opportunity to review them. Are there any changes anybody would like to suggest or any edits at this time?
Move approval.
All right, very good. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, very good. Motion second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Very good. Minutes pass. Very good. We will move forward on to the second item, which is presentation on the progress being made on Roanoke Park by the Roanoke Park Conservancy.
Heather, you going to kick this off?
Yeah, I think we might need a couple extra minutes if we
Okay.
move down on the.
Yeah, sure. We'll go ahead and we'll come back to it,
All right.
if that's okay. Moving forward on to the resolution number 29127.
Yes, Commissioners, this is a resolution supporting an ordinance on reinstatement of Chapter 53. This is a chapter section that was in the charter prior to charter revision about 5 years ago, and this would reinstate that Section 53. You have a memo in your packet and a document supporting that, and if you have any additional questions, Denise has been handling this for us.
Okay, very good. Are there any questions at this time? All right, seeing none, is there a motion to approve staff recommendations?
So moved.
Very good.
Second.
Second, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, very good. Resolution passes. Let's move forward on resolution number 29128.
Yes, Commissioners, we went out with a request for qualifications, request for proposal to find an organization to operate the camps up at the Camp Lake of the Woods, which is here in Swell Park. Successful proposal on this was Campfire USA. Before you have an agreement with that organization for the summer of 2012. And Forrest Decker has been handling that for us. And Forrest is not in the room. If you have any questions.
I worked on the agreement, so.
Denise worked on the agreement.
Are there any questions of Denise at this time? We all had a chance to look at it. Very good. Is there a motion to approve the recommendation to accept the management agreement?
So moved.
Very good. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Very good. Resolution passes. Let's move forward with resolution number 29129.
Good. Well, this is about Paul Mesner Puppets at 39th and Gillum. Denise worked on this agreement.
All right.
Now, we have guests here from Paul Mesner Puppets. Could you introduce our guest, Denise, and tell us a little bit about what we're involved in here?
Well, I know that Diane Barker, the executive director, is here. Maybe she can, I see some other board members. Come on up, Denise.
Yes, I'm Diane Barker, the Executive Director, and this is Klaus Warzenek, who's our Board President.
If you just scoot up to the podium, and so that way we can.
Yeah, hi, I'm Klaus Warzenek, the board president.
Okay.
Welcome.
Welcome, yes.
And my name is Craig Shaw. I'm with Shaw Hofstra Associates Architects, and we've been helping Paul Mesner Puppets.
Great. Fantastic.
This has been a proposal that they submitted to rehabilitate and reuse the old facilities, the old maintenance barn that's
Yes.
at 39th and Gillum.
Yep.
And they are proposing a number of wonderful things, this, including a reconstruction of a theater there, some outdoor spaces which can be used for the community, for kids to be engaged, do workshops, different things like that. And we are giving them 90 days to get the building secured and get some of the preliminary work done. They've asked for another several months to work on a long-range plan on a financial feasibility study. And then at the end of that year, we will have an amendment of the construction proposal, hopefully, and the timetable that it will take to get it completed.
Very good. Excellent. Do any of us have questions of Denise or our guests? All right.
Exciting project.
Yeah, very exciting.
Very
Excellent.
excited.
Thank you all for being here. We really appreciate it. Very exciting.
Well, thank you for the opportunity.
Yes, thank you, thank you. Is there a motion to approve the resolution number 29129?
So moved.
Very good. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been seconded. Very good. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Very good. Resolution passes. Resolution number 29130.
Yes, Commissioners, this is a resolution to accept a deed for a property at 8122 Highland. which will be in addition to the Marlboro Community Center site. Steve Abbott is here, and Steve, I hope you got a map over there. Great. Show us where that's at.
I was trying to describe this verbally a minute ago. Map helps.
Good afternoon, Commissioners.
Good afternoon.
This is one of the properties I showed you about 2 months ago. This is the Marlboro Community Center here. This is the Paseo. This is 82nd Street. This is a piece of ground that the Wheatland Corporation wishes to donate to the city at no cost. We're planning on using this as an expansion to the parking lot, which is really inadequate. So here's the community center site. Here's the site in question. Preliminary design suggests that we can double the amount of parking that will serve the site. We did a phase 1 environmental assessment, which revealed that there's no recognized environmental issues with the site. We did do an asbestos as part of the standard procedure, since there's a building on it. There are asbestos-containing materials within the building, and those will be abated before we demolish it.
Very good. Are there any other questions? All right, seeing none, is there a motion to approve the resolution 29130?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Very good. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Resolution passes. Moving on. Thank you.
Thank you.
Resolution number 29131.
Yes, Commissioner, this is contract amendment number 1 with Asplin Company for tree trimming, tree maintenance services. You have a memo in your packet for Forrest Decker. We recommend approval. And Forrest is in the room at the present time.
Yeah, I apologize for that.
No.
If you want to throw anything about campfire girls, now's your time to speak about that, too.
Did you pass the resolution?
Yes, we did.
Okay, thank you. Thank you
Unless,
very
of
much.
course, you're sort of recommending something else.
No,
Okay,
you
very
saw
good.
my
Just wanted to make
recommendation at the
sure.
bottom. Thank you. So, answer any questions about this. This is basically just a change order for $150,000 into our annual tree maintenance program. The $150,000 comes mostly from reimbursements we received from storm work in 2011 and reimbursements from Public Works, Water Department, Neighborhood Preservation for assistance that we give them on their projects. So,
Very good. And then approximately, we were, obviously, this is timely because we were just talking about the forestry plans.
Yes.
So, $150,000 additional sort of dollars going towards tree maintenance. Focus of that, once again, is on the right-of-way, or where's this sort of, where?
the focus of this will be on addressing 311s.
Okay, 311.
That's basically what this entire contract does. It addresses the 311s that we get in, and that's in parks, on boulevards, parkways, city streets, just a wide variety, just wherever those 311s happen to come from.
Okay, very good. Any other questions of course?
Why is it a private company? Do we have the capability to do the 311 calls, or what's?
We do in-house as well. We have enough of them a year. It basically takes all of our in-house staff
Okay.
and this
And-
contract.
okay.
Yes. So it's about a 50-50 ratio. We do about half of our tree maintenance work in-house, and we contract the other half out, roughly.
And is it because we don't have the equipment that we couldn't fully,
We don't have the staff.
the staff? Okay. Thank you.
Very good. Okay. Any other questions? All right. Is there a motion to accept resolution number 29131?
So moved.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
Very good. Motion is seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Very good. Resolution passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to resolution number 29132.
Yes, Commissioners, this is a resolution to support the request for a $25,000 grant, a matching grant from Platte County through our outreach grant, and as indicated in the memo from Travis, we use it for outdoor exercise equipment. If you have any questions, Travis is here to answer those.
All right, is there any questions of Travis on that one? No? All right, very good. Is there a motion to approve the resolution?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, motion seconded. Any further discussion? Very good. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All right, resolution passes. The next one, which is our favorite, which is the acceptance of gifts and contributions, resolution number 29133.
Yes, Commissioners, two gifts, significant contribution from the Ward family for maintenance of several park areas, and then John Conforti for some donation for the Chris Kringle and Holiday Senior Lunch.
Okay, great. Are there any questions of Mark on this?
What does significant contribution mean? Is that?
A lot of zeros behind the
Ah,
number.
there you go.
Exactly. Are they,
In respect to the wishes
of the
Right.
donor,
Okay,
right?
gotcha.
Okay, great.
Yeah, it's very much in respect to the donors'
Okay.
intent on this. So.
All right,
correct.
thank you.
Very good. All right, is there a motion to approve the resolution?
So moved.
Very good. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, resolution passes. On to the director's report.
Yes, Major Canard, you want to do Rona? You ready for Rona?
I think they're still working on.
Still working?
the projector,
Okay,
so-
Major Construction, Travis?
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Just a couple items today. Give you an update on two of the master plans that we have going right now. The Council District 5 Park located east of Nolan Road. We had a master plan meeting on that community meeting back December 15th on that. Thought it was very well attended. We had approximately 45 folks show up for that meeting and went over several ideas of what they felt like would make a ideal regional park in their area down there. Covered everything from athletic fields to additional trails to unique and unusual uses of the Little Blue River of the creek that's located next to the facility down there. That river is actually located on Jackson County property. Jackson County owns the property between us and the river, but the Jackson County folks were at the public hearing or public meeting and indicated they're in full cooperation with, whatever we end up plan-wise. If we end up with some sort of a canoe rental or boat ramp or something in that area to utilize that stretch of water, that, they would definitely work with us on that. We're working with them on the trail that runs through that area as well, so it goes back and forth. You'll see that plan come before the board probably about the end of June as far as that master plan. That one's being done in-house. Frank Gibbs is the project manager on that project.
What other stakeholders are involved in that besides Jackson County?
As far as the neighborhoods, you got a lot of the same folks. There's an area plan going on at the same time. It's called Little Blue Valley Area Plan, and it also takes in all the stakeholders that's also involved in the Knobtown Area Plan down there. So it really runs almost from Longview up past where the new Raytown Elementary is on Nolan, and then of course that whole area over there by Teetering Rocks and all the way over to Unity Village on the other side over by Bannister Road. So it's a pretty good sized area in there. The second plan, we have a meeting scheduled January 19th at the Mid-Continent Library for the Garney Park Master Plan. That's the one we're working in conjunction with Olson and Associates. They have their team of young professionals working on that plan at no cost to the city. And their first public meeting will be January 19th from 5 to 7 at the Mid-Continent Library, and that's at 8700 North Oak Traffic Way. And that's a 100-acre park located just west of Woodland, north of Shoal Creek Parkway up there. Again, that's the size of a regional park. Looking at some of the preliminary information, they utilize some of the existing data that we had here as far as trying to incorporate a community center, into that property, as well as leave it open enough to gather the ideas from the stakeholders in the area. So,
what time is that meeting?
5 to 7,
Thanks.
5 p.m. to 7 p.m.
What date was that again?
That is January 19th. Now, they expect to wrap that master plan up and present that to the board by the end of March.
Are they using a pattern of the old master plan? I know there was one done about 8 years ago when we purchased that land.
They The old master plan was, all we had on the old master plan was basically an 8.5 by 11 sheet that had an outline of what was anticipated back in 1999 for that park. Now, Ann Garney herself has been participating in this process and meeting with us, you know, on, I think we've met 3 times on this already. So as far as information that would have been relayed or would have needed to be carried forward, she's right there as a source to bring that forward. So,
Okay.
so she's been working hand in hand with the group as well. So, any questions on those?
Thank you very much. Or do we want to go ahead and?
Yeah, if we're ready over
If
here.
we're okay on the Roanoke's?
Are we ready for
For
the
the park?
park? Okay. Yeah, if we're ready for Roanoke. You wanna, Heather's gonna do the introduction?
Yep.
Thank you, Heather.
Good afternoon. I'm Heather Uncle with Park Planning and Design Services. For about the last 2 years or so, we've been working on Roanoke Park, and it's been a great public-private partnership. We've had a lot of neighbors involved in working there every weekend to remove invasive honeysuckle, and they also took the initiative to work on a master plan. So they're here to update the board today. We have Kurt Watkins and Pete Brown, who are going to discuss the progress of the plan and some of our future ideas.
Thank you, Heather.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Thanks for the opportunity to bring you an update on our Roanoke Park project. As Heather mentioned, this has become somewhat of a model public-private enterprise that has import beyond just Roanoke Park. First, I wish to point out that I'm accompanied by Pete Brown and also Randy Moore. And we are 3 of the board members of the brand-new Roanoke Park Conservancy Board. So we've gotten more organized to pursue some of the things that we have added to our list. I have briefly a little bit of the update. Is that going to work for me, Heather? Slide, please. Okay, please. Roanoke Park, as you know, is in Midtown Kansas City. Slide. And it is surrounded by the 4 neighborhoods of Volker, Roanoke, Coleman Highlands, and Valentine. Our project is fairly new, but the park certainly isn't. It goes back over 100 years now. It was one of the original pods of the Kessler Park system. Here's a picture, as you can see, taken in 1921. And here is what that very same spot looks like, looked like in 2010. And about all you can see is greenery, and most of that is that invasive honeysuckle. Slide, please. We began initiatives in February of 2010, led by Kite Singleton, a person I think that's known to you, and he got some of the Parks Department people to come to train us what the problem is with invasive honeysuckle, because we all thought it was nice greenery for many years, and also to help us get started with how to identify it, eradicate it, and treat it so that it won't come back. So mostly for 2010, we were cutting honeysuckle, but also in that same year, we conducted a survey among those neighbors in the 4 neighborhoods. The findings of that survey were used, or we refined them in a charrette that we did in the fall of 2010. That resulted in a master plan idea that we presented to the neighbors in an open house in December. And then about this time last year, the Parks Board adopted our master plan that we presented as the official master plan of Roanoke Park. As I mentioned, we've mostly been in these honeysuckle wars, as we call them, and that was almost the exclusive activity in 2010. Some slides of what we were doing. And one of the great things where this partnership started, our part of the deal was that we'd go into the woods, cut the honeysuckle, drag it to the curb, and faithfully, about every Monday, the Parks Department would come by with their trucks and do the heavy lifting of hauling the debris away. So in addition to the help from the Parks Department of the training, the debris removal, they provided us with materials, seeding, the big trees that we couldn't handle. They came in with their professionals to do. And part of the fun of the process is we began discovering things that have been buried in that honeysuckle for decades of years. To wit, an old stairway that comes down from the southwest traffic way. Here's one of the outcroppings that nobody really realized was there because nobody would venture into the park. Next slide. As I mentioned, the survey, 211 people from the surrounding neighborhoods participated in this. One of our focuses all along has been to get many, many people involved, so it's their plan, our plan. And the survey findings, first and foremost, was parks are for kids. Those neighborhoods have lots of young families in them, so we wanted to make sure that was a good place, a productive place, a safe place, a comfortable place for them to go. The next slide, please. Also, we determined, or the survey pointed out that we would like to maintain that green space in Midtown. It's important to have green pastoral places in urban areas with that's frenzy. So we wanted to expose the outbluffs, or the outcroppings, the bluffs, as we took out the invasive growth in time to reforest the park area. And we also want to develop areas of native grass. The features that our survey revealed as being important, that it was felt that it would be a good idea to have some small formal gardens to contrast with the natural setting of the park. We would look to volunteers to maintain special gardens. We thought an idea would be memorial planting programs. A water feature was mentioned. We think it'd be a good place for some public art. We have a meeting next week, as a matter of fact, with the commissioner of the public arts program. Mostly that park is noted for having a few sidewalks, and it's not easy to get in and out of the park. And so one of the early focuses, we were asked to concentrate on sidewalks and also hiking trails, and generally make it easier for the surrounding neighborhoods to get into the park. We're fortunate to have a community center there. It's a wonderful place. After the $4 million renovation, we find it's used more and more. We're hoping that in time those hours can be expanded, the programs can be expanded, but more and more people are coming to this park and the community center as a result of getting it cleaned up. With respect to how would the park best be used, most people felt that they would like to have events such as dance in the park that you may be familiar with, as opposed to organized sporting events, but to have some open fields where people can pick up a sandlot game of baseball or horseshoes or whatever. I mentioned we've refined the survey findings in the Charrette in October of 2010. We conducted this in the community center. Please, Heather. And 38 people came to spend the day with us, and people from outside the immediate neighborhoods joined us, including a Department of Conservation forester, artists, naturalists. We had 2 facilitators that volunteered their time to lead the group, landscape architects, photographers, and 3 people from your own group joined us. We began the Charrette with these 10 guiding principles: to honor the Kessler Plan, restore the park to its former grandeur, respect the history while embracing the future, maintain ecologically, geological, and environmental balance throughout the park, enhance the quality of life and value the adjoining neighborhoods. And we believe that not only the quality of life could be enhanced with this improved park, but implicitly property values around as a park becomes a sought-after place to live nearby. We wanted to create a secure environment, which was missing with all the overgrowth, and to maintain the park improvements and its attractiveness. Number 8, the center, take advantage of the community center, and maximize the opportunity for both public and private donor support in time and in material goods. And these were constructed by the late Carrie Goodman, an architect, who said, pay attention to all the senses, make it a good place to see, to smell, to be. And here are some pictures from that charrette that took place in the community center. We all fanned out it, but we divided into 3 teams, went into the park, came back with ideas, and began to sketch, talk, and we ended up with a prioritized master plan from all the findings in the survey that took place. And these are drawings and pictures that took place. It resulted in this master plan, which we brought a copy of. And the key thing, briefly about the plan, the red marks are existing streets, but all the yellow areas are new sidewalks to be added and expanded to get it around the park. The idea generally is to make it easier to get into the park and easier to get around the park with sidewalks and appropriate lighting. Also part of the plan was to consolidate the sports activities into an area we call the Sports District, which is just adjacent to the community center, and it's a parking lot to leave most of the other areas open in a pastoral, natural setting for picnics, for families, for events, for walking, for lounging, for enjoying. On, please, Heather. I mentioned these highlights, connectivity, getting around. Traffic calming is an issue. Carnes Boulevard, a beautiful boulevard, runs through the park, and cars roar down the boulevard, and we have some ideas to calm the traffic, looking for new design lighting, upgrade the playgrounds, a possibility for a rain garden, and these fanned out light scenes you see are focal points, viewpoints around the park that put people in a position to see some of the grandeur, and there's lots of it, certainly. Okay. So, to the present moment, we also continued hacking away at the honeysuckle, although we think we're ahead of a schedule. Maybe we can get that done in 25 years instead of 35. So we stay after this. This year we had 2 all-neighborhood cleanup days that were well attended, and here's another one of the surprises that came about from that as we cleared out the debris. You could begin to see that beautiful white bluff and other such outcroppings that people were surprised that were there because they'd been overgrown for so long. Our primary volunteer focus for this year was done in concert with David Burke of your organization, and slide. And that was, we did a focused 9-week effort to clear all of the honeysuckle out on this southern tip of the park, and that was in preparation for you all to bring in some major equipment to remove trees and tree stumps and repair severely eroded areas and prepare it for seeding, and all that has taken place. The only thing that didn't quite work out, it was awfully dry and hot towards the end of the summer, so our seeding didn't appear as it had the previous year, but it's starting to come up now, so we have one fine area. Another thing that we began this year, and it was begun by a different group of volunteers this project attracted, namely the Earth Riders Trails Association, a group I think that you're familiar with. I understand they build over 70 miles of parks, and we are delighted that they bring in new people to the project to build hiking, biking trails for the park. And to augment those sidewalks that we're planning on, we also intend to have a hiking loop completely around and through the park, and that is just underway. There's some serious engineering done down there by the trail builders. Last spring, we remarked that, you know, it might be nice to have a place to pause and sit in the park, and we asked the department if they could look around in their warehouse and see if we might find some old used park benches. And rather than that, the department graciously provided new park benches for us, which have been installed in 4 different places throughout the park. And it's been observed that not only is it a nice place to kind of sit and pause and reflect, but those benches make the park begin to look like, well, a park, as it were. So the park benches. We were beginning to attract some attention and notoriety. You're familiar with the Pitch's Best Of, and in 2011, the best comeback was identified as Roanoke Park. An excerpt from the article they wrote, it now feels like a gathering place with 4 surrounding neighborhoods rather than a dividing place. And part of the joy of working together, we're meeting new people that live just across the park that we'd never known before. So that's another positive force of that. One of the neighborhood associations said we have an idea and money to back it, and they gave us $5,000 to develop a lookout point at an appropriate place in the park, and then some private citizens, having heard about that, came up with another $5,000. So we have a fund of $10,000 to develop what we're calling Lookout Point, which is along Valentine Road just above the community center. And the services were donated by an architect to come up with a design. A contractor did the layout and site work, and you can't quite see it, but this is all marked as you go through there with the proposed path of the steps with red flags. So this is all private activity and donations to enhance the park in this one particular area, and that's underway. Okay. This has been attracting the attention of some of the news press. KCTV5's Banyan Lee did a second feature on the park. Headline was Neighbors Work Together to Transform Park into a Green Space. Our neighbors said at the beginning of this, you know, everybody was saying, why can't we have the park this way or that way? And one day it occurred to us that budgets are a little tight these days. If not us, who's going to do it? So we got into the project, and that's been an appealing story. We've created a master plan that'll cost $1 million. Funding's not there, but it's a vision we think we can come to fruition with enough development of the support. A key remark in this is this last observation that we had observed, our neighbors had observed, that lack of maintenance in the park took a toll. And our residents, a word they used continuously was it's creepy to be in the park because of all of that overgrowth, and occasional stranger would wander out of the brush when a mother was walking her young children down there. And so just the fact that it's opened up makes it feel safer, please. In November, the Historic Kansas City Foundation gave us an award of excellent called the Community Catalyst Award to recognize the efforts that are being made by the private citizens around the park. So more publicity. We had a first formal event. We've been saying, well, come on down to the park. Well, this time we had an event. We had a band. We had a picnic. It was a beautiful Sunday afternoon, and several people came out, and it was successful enough. We declared it the first annual Family Day picnic in the park. And the whole thing is driven to get people into the park, to enjoy the park and take advantage of that. Okay, and we concluded this year by forming the Roanoke Park Conservancy. Again, we found volunteer lawyers. We're lucky to have lots of talents in those neighborhoods. And so now we're official. We're in the process of becoming a 501c3 organization. And as I mentioned, I have a couple of members of the board with us. And we are excited by the things we've discovered along this journey and see so much more possibility for what the park can become. And I think, as I mentioned, it's important just beyond the park, because people are talking to us now about the power of a public-private enterprise to get some things done when there's not all the funding to do the things we think somebody ought to do, not us who. And finally, thank you for your audience. Thanks for the continuing support. We hope you'll come to see us in the park in person, or absent that, visit our website, and we'd be happy to answer any questions.
I don't have a question. I have a thank you. Don't thank us. This is the kind of thing that we desperately need in these financial times. And it's a tremendous pattern. And if I find an area where they might need some guidance, I'd like to be able to call on you and say, this has been done, and we know the people that know how to do it. So
thank you. We'd be glad to do that, because we do see some great possibilities for the city overall with these projects, and we're hopeful of giving a favorable material sign in the form of a PIAC grant soon. And that's going to be important, because we've been bringing our volunteers kind of along on a faith basis. We've had great support from the Parks Department, but we need a big hit, a big sign, and we're hoping that we're going to hear about that to become executing some of these capital-intensive things like the lighting and the sidewalks. It's beyond our ability, at least these days, to raise the money privately for it. So thanks for that comment.
Sure.
Anything else?
That's great.
I just want to say one more thing. It's a little bit of a different thank you. When I saw this was on our agenda, my mother, my grandmother, great aunt, other aunts, they all live up in Coleman Highlands.
Oh, really? Great.
But great things to say about the park, how it's looking. I know my mom just took my boys down there just the other day to sort of have them out and about in the park.
Thank you for that story.
So it's fantastic work that you all are doing, and I applaud you for your efforts.
Well, thanks so much. That's exactly what we like to hear. More people coming to the park. Anything else? Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Very good. On the marketing report?
Yes, Heidi, marketing, please.
I got stacks of things here for you. First of all, this is a flyer about the Garney Master Plan Committee meeting. You guys, to give you some more information. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I've handed out several things for you. Like I said, the first one was the flyer about the master plan for Garney Park, which will take place on the 19th. Following that, I believe, is a copy of the email that we're going to send out. We're going to be doing a poll or a vote on the name for the new Longview Tract Aquatic Center, or the Aquatic Center at Longview Tract Park, which we broke ground for, as you know, in mid-July, and plan to open it on Memorial Day weekend of this year. So we've narrowed it down to 3 choices. We didn't want to have anything that was taken already in the area. There's a lot of splashes and there's a lot of, other types of names. So we've got the Bay, the Lagoon, or the H2O zone as the choices, and we're going to do a vote via email. We'll mail it out to our database of 7,000 or so to vote on it. We've also got some sponsorship through the Jackson County Advocate newspaper, who's going to go ahead and put some information in their paper, do some ads for us, having people come to our website or to our Facebook page to go ahead and do the vote. We're going to run that through, I think, the 27th, hopefully start it here this week, and run it through 27th, and then whatever name gets the most votes will be the name of the new aquatic center at that park. Okay. Also, I think I handed out the user survey, the Kansas City Park survey. We always do this in January. Email it again out to our database, post it on our Facebook, post it on our website, and encourage people who actually use our parks or are familiar with our parks partners, to complete this survey. We typically get about between 400 and 500 completed. To have the questions kind of align with those that come out of the, I guess not now the city manager's office, not the auditor's office, so that we can get an idea of how people who actually use our facilities use our parks and have an interest and a buy-in to the parks answers compared to those people who are just randomly receiving these in the mail and may or may not have ever been in one of our facilities. So it's always interesting. We typically get very good responses, but we'd be running that then throughout until probably about mid-February, and so I'll have the results for that in late February for you as well. What else did I hand you? The year in review. This is a draft, a very kind of a pretty rough draft, but it's going to give you an idea of the look and the feel and what significant things will be highlighted in the year in review. So the headlines or the titles are what I will be writing about. Some of them are written, some of them are not. You'll be able to pretty easily tell which ones are just kind of draft copy I stuck in there. But it'll give you an idea and an overview of what will be in the completed year in review when it goes to print and will be ready by beginning of about February, hopefully. Still waiting for some statistics, and which take a while to get in for the year. But I'm excited about this one because it's going to be really pretty. Because this year we're able to feature the winners from the Green Exposures photography contest throughout the publication. So it is going to be almost a coffee table book look for our year in review. Also, speaking of the Green Exposures photography contest, as you know, the exhibit has been hanging down at the downtown Central Library and was to have ended January 2nd, but the library has asked that it be extended through the end of February. So they're really enjoying having it. We love it having it there. Of course, we're anxious to kind of get it out here and hang it as well, but it's going to be there for a couple more months. If you haven't gotten down there to see it, please do.
This was the grand prize, right?
That's on the cover is the best in show, and then each of them are noted as to who the artist is and what prize and what place they took. I think that's all I have.
That's great. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, a little update on our holiday parties, Mark?
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Just a couple of highlights of the mayor's holiday celebrations that took place over the holiday season. We had about 3,500 total visitors who came along with children to our various events. We gave out approximately 2,095 toys to the children who participated. One of the nicer things that happened, I'd like to share. Jason Hodges, Jason Hodges from the mayor's office. Once it was noted that we weren't going to have as many toys for kids as we had anticipated, and I think that's across the state and across the country at least in terms of donations. Jason Hodges from the mayor's office, along with the funds from the Mayor's Christmas Tree Fund, he jumped into action and met us out at Target store and began to purchase, along with our staff, the many gifts that we were missing. So I'd like to really give a 2 thumbs up to Jason and the mayor's office for the support that they provided us during the challenging times. Also would like to point out that the Way Coalition, one of our largest volunteer organizations on the west side, also jumped into action, and they were able to secure about $3,000, mostly to support the Tony Aguirre Community Center. But obviously, as much as we supported Tony Aguirre through those donations, that meant less support or less activity for the other ones. So wanted to really tip our hats to Linda Callan and the Way Coalition for the work that they put in to make sure that this event was successful for our children. Overall, I think with what we had to work with, we did a yeoman's job. The kids were delighted. I certainly want to thank all of the commissioners that did attend these events. I want to thank Steve. I saw Steve cooking hot dogs one day, so he's up to his usual. But for everybody that made this a particularly rewarding event for our children, certainly want to thank you guys for doing that. And we certainly look forward to next year, or this year, for that matter. Yeah.
Exactly, great. Thank you.
And then there's more detail in the memo, if there's any questions.
Thanks, Mark. Update on grants, Jennifer?
Commissioners. The 2 documents you have a list of the grants that we actually have right now, and that is between 2009 and 2012. There are 2 that are new to this list that you didn't see last time. That's the ETOS grant and the Solid Waste Management grant. The ETOS grant is not entirely new, but we got an additional award this year for about $55,000, and that is to provide people with disabilities facility passes for community centers, passes to different classes that they might want to take, as well as a couple of activity days for disabled adults and children. And the Solid Waste Management grant is to do recycling in 3 of our parks. So that'll be Penguin, Swope, and Loose Park. So we're going to start actually placing recycling bins. When I say recycling in parks, a lot of people think that we're doing a drop-off facility, but that's not what it is. It's actually just setting up containers that we're going to collect and start recycling. And on the previous page, you have a list of all the pending and denied grant proposals, because we want to show you our wins as well as our losses. But it also shows you that we're going out there and looking for a variety of different opportunities to fund our operations. We have $1.2 million in pending grants right now. So those are ones we haven't quite heard back on, but we are hopeful that we will get good news from that. So if there are any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
I have a question. I noticed there's a lot of MoDOT in here. When I picked it up, I guess sort of presumed that I'd see some Department of Conservation. There's nothing in here. I saw maybe a DNR one in here. Yeah. Does Conservation, do they give out some grants, and how have we worked with them?
They do, and we have had some grants from Department of Conservation. A lot of those are actually pass-through grants, like this grant that we just got from Mid-America Regional Council. That is actually from DNR, but passed through Mark. So sometimes it'll come in different forms. The agency that I listed is the agency that we are getting the money from directly. But MoDOT, incredibly common for all of our infrastructure grants. That's obviously the one we see the most of. But there are other funding opportunities available that we do apply for from time to time.
Let's check on that one that they have on tree planting. I know we haven't had one of those for a little while.
Okay.
NBC, it's relief, I believe it might be called, which is a term for tree planting. I know we had to kind of work through some other not-for-profit. They didn't want to give it to other government agencies. The requirement, they had to go through some not-for-profit partner of some kind.
And actually, you mentioned that, and I wish Kevin LaPointe was here. He was here earlier. I believe he is going after that this year, so I'll check with him on that.
Thank you.
Is that through Conservation?
We used
That's
to.
through Conservation. Yeah.
Okay.
Didn't we used to get those through the Northland Chamber too?
Yeah, we did, we had, because we have to use some
We
of our
haven't,
agency.
we haven't done it for a long time at the chamber, but
Yeah, I'm not sure where that stands right now, but it sounds like it might still be active.
It's something that Forrest was telling me about that he was wanting to pursue.
Okay, we could share it with other than like a chamber or
Mhm.
some other not-for-profit.
Mhm.
The only other group I was thinking about was the National Park Service. Do they have grants?
They do, and we currently have one from the National Park Service, the Santa Fe Trail. Again, we just currently have the one. Definitely worth checking into. We have there's a database that the city has that lists all kinds of different grant opportunities. And so I get emails on those, and it tells us kind of what's available, what we could pursue. So we have an idea based on that list. And of course, a lot of the staff have contacts at the various departments, federal and state, and so we hear from them as well. And that's how we get our information and kind of pursue from there.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Okay.
Obviously, there's nobody signed up for the public hearing. Just want to take a quick look at the calendar.
Yes, please. A couple things. Platte County Park Partners tomorrow. I know I talked to you, Dave, about
Yes.
that. Alan, were you gonna?
I'm going to try to be there, yes.
Yeah, and let's see what happens. I know it wasn't fit my schedule, but there's some things happening in Platte County we might be hearing about tomorrow on that. The conflict I had, there is a ordinance moving through council now to take the 45% on the Livermore Endowment and move it to 90%. This has been part of the discussions we've been having with the city manager and the Livermore Association, so that's in front of neighborhood committee tomorrow at noon.
Okay.
Hopefully that'll get approved, and that'll get the 90%, which goes with their budget. No meeting, of course, here next Tuesday. I will mention the city budget does come out next Tuesday. The city manager will present it to the mayor at that time, and I trust we'll get a copy, Sherry. Is that how that works? So we'll hopefully find out what it says. And then on the 19th, I know it was mentioned earlier about the meeting on Garney Park. And there's actually two retreats on the 21st. Starlight Theater has one, and also the Memorial Association has one. And I would think that Dave Mecklenburg and Amy Gromowski would have got a notice on that from the Memorial Association.
I actually got a preliminary, are you available, but never got a follow-up. What's the date?
21st. Is that, yeah, I think there was, Kelly had sent something out. Yeah, they had, I think that's the 21st if I remember, but you're right, they were shopping a couple different dates, weren't they? Yeah.
What's the time on that?
I know it's in the morning, but I'm not,
Okay.
we'll check the time. Yeah, I'm not absolutely sure. We'll find out for sure. And then, like I said, back here on the 24th. Also sent out for the latter part of last week an update on Brush Creek Community Center. I know we've talked about that
Yes.
in the open forum the last couple times we met. This gives you an update of where we were as of January 5th. And that's just kind of a changing document, and a little bit everybody's involved in that, between Steve and Mark and Nate from our personnel department, Forrest Decker and his crews on the maintenance. So trying to deal with all the issues that have been brought forward. Jennifer's been very much involved in trying to get some volunteers on board and doing some screening of volunteers and background checks. So I think we're making some progress.
Very good. Thank you all for continuing to address those issues with those residents and at the community center. We really appreciate that, to all of you. All right, very good.
Are we meeting with the Starlight people on the 21st earlier? And are we supposed to do some kind of, I have that on my calendar, some meet and greet with the Starlight board? Oh, sorry, am I missing this?
That needs to be done here. That's,
Okay, no, yeah, that's what I meant, 24th, yeah.
That's
Okay.
prior to our meeting, right?
Right.
But, and where is that? Here?
Starlight Theater.
Oh, that's Starlight, okay. Thank you.
All right. Is there anything else we need to address? Any other business? Very good. Okay. Meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.